Well, good morning, and welcome to the Tools for Genomics Assisted Breeding of Polyploids training workshop. I welcome you well, actually, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you happen to be. And I appreciate everyone coming here. Let me see. I'm David Byrne. I'm the coordinator of this project. It's been a pleasure working with everybody on the project because they work very well together. I'm at Texas A&M, and if you need to contact me, you can contact me at toolsforpolyploids@tamu.edu. Now, the project itself has three objectives. Just to give you a quick overview for people who didn't make it to the last project meeting last year. The first one is develop computational tools. And so since the last meeting, we sort of introduced a lot of tools with respect to genotyping, calling, you got your mapping and your QTL analysis. And now, so our first day is going to be updating these tools, giving you updates on the new developments and new functionalities of the tools, and then developing other tools. The objective two is to validate. So a lot of these tools have gone to the various breeding programs involved, and I hope to get all the participants involved in validating this as well. That's why we have some user presentations as well, so we can get a better idea how things are working. And of course, we've been comparing directly, and Jeek and Lau will be talking about a comparison of some of the mapping and QTL analysis software later today. And then objective three is to train polyploid crop breeders, and that's where we are here. And so this is a very important part of the project as well. And I'm very happy to see we have such good participation. Now, we have a lot of partners here. Of course, we have mainly university partners, but also we have in the US, but we also have partners in New Zealand, the Plant and Food Research, and in the Netherlands, Wageningen. And so we have a lot of really good collaborations going on. Beyond this, we have partners commercially and on the public international sphere. I do want to mention a few here. There's several who have donated to help sponsor these meetings. Now this year, and well, we don't have an in-person meeting this year. Hopefully next year we will. And most of these donations will go to support student and postdoc travel funding so they can come to the meeting. And these would be Star Roses and Plants, Doom and Orange, Gene Twister, Harbor Biosciences, Bejo, and Newhouse Farms, all donated funds for to sponsor this meeting. And I also want to mention Lumina, who donated materials, lab supplies to do some sequencing for our lab. So who's in this group? Who's registered for this this meeting? Who is the community we're dealing with? Now, if you look at this, it's interesting because it's a very young group. You got 60 to 70% in their 20s and 30s. So these are the graduate students, the postdocs, and people early in their breeding career. These are obviously the people who are going to be learning this and changing our industry as we go forward. Participants, both private, so about 20% were private breeding programs, people from private breeding programs, and a little less than 40% public breeding programs. And then a larger number, 45% or so, as students and postdocs. So again, representing a very young distribution of people in this group. We have both international and national. So we have about 50% more or less in North America, and the other 50% in other areas, South America, Europe, Africa, a few in Asia, and a few in Oceania, mainly, well, New Zealand, which is one of our collaborators. A wide range of expertise. As you would expect, a lot of people in the breeding and genetics sphere, but we have a lot of computational geneticists, statisticians, molecular geneticists, and of course, people in the plant pathology, entomology, and plant physiology. Again, all these people working with breeding programs to make things go quicker and better. So crops represented, again, looking at this, mainly root and tuber and fruit crops. Root and tuber, again, heavy on the potatoes and sweet potatoes, some on the yam and a few other things. Fruit crops, mainly small fruits. It's your blackberries, your blueberries, strawberries, and a few other things. In the grass group, we have, of course, turf grass. We have forage grass as well, but also sugarcane goes in this group. Ornamentals, mainly roses and chrysanthemums, but a lot of other things too. There's a wide diversity of ornamentals. Vegetables, in this case, mainly it seems to be mainly legume crops, some of the herbs, such as mint and things that are tetraploid, and various cereal crops. Ploidy levels, again, as with previous looks, tetraploid is the most common ploid level, but most of these breeders also work on the diploid level. So they're working with diploid progenitors. So they're working on several different levels. Triploids with respect to bananas, a lot of ornamentals as well. Triploids are very important. Hexaploids, you get into the sweet potato, octoploid, strawberries, and things like that. Of course, you're getting into sugarcane up in these higher ploid levels as well. So what software is being used? And I do ask that question every year. And if you look here, now again, 2021 and 2022, you can see there's an increase of usage of all the software across the board. On average, in 2021, we had about 10% of the people being familiar with the software, which means 90% were not. Now we're up to 21%. So we're getting an increased uptick of familiarity, which is basically what we're aiming towards. And so we're making some progress here. But of course, the ultimate goal is to get people to use this in genomics assisted breeding. So the question is, are we being successful? Well, it looks like we are. This is for using molecular markers for parental selection. Pretty straightforward. You can see there's an increase in using it 50% of the time or always. If you look at it for seedling selection, again, increase on sometimes, most of the time, and always, and of course, a big decrease in never. And so we are making progress. Here in genomic selection, we're seeing the same trend. So for all three uses, and I dare say there's other uses as well, we're getting a increase in use of genomic resources and genomics assisted breeding. And so that's where we've been aiming towards. Now I want to thank the four consultants, postdocs in the program that have helped us in the computational sessions. These were sessions where we answered questions about previous presentations from 2021, and then any questions about installation and use of software. This was Maria, Gabrielle, Jekin, and Chris, and they did a wonderful job. Subsequent questions, you can always go to Slack channel and ask them, and you can get an answer that way. Now for this series of talks that we have this year, this training workshop, the elements are, one, as before, we have the major training presentations. So today is mainly software updates on the mapping and QTL software, and then we're going to have one presentation by Jekin on comparison of softwares. And then tomorrow we'll talk about newer software, introduce you to simulation tools, haplotype assembly using sequencing data, and genomic selection. Of course, throughout this, we always have time so you can ask the presenters questions that you may have. Now, the thing we've added this year was to have more user interaction. Last year was we just talked to you and then had the office hours. Now we want you to talk to us. So we have oral presentations. We have 9 of them throughout the day, interspersed with the major training presentations. And then we have a poster session with 16 posters. And the reason for this is to increase our networking within the polyploid breeding community. I firmly believe as we talk to each other, we get things done more efficiently. And it's always better to work as a group. And so that's the reason we did this. So again, today I'm giving the introduction. We'll go from here to Dory, Maine, and Delaney will give you a tour of the website. And then we'll start talking about software updates. We have Peter on Peter Marcella with actually a few other, Gabrielle and Chris will be with him to talk about the software they've developed on mapping and QTL analysis. Jeff will give you updates on the GWAS Poly, and Jekan will give you software comparisons. With respect to user presentations, we have 5 today, again from New Zealand, from the Netherlands, and from the US. So it includes various crops, as well as a couple on software development. So these are going to be really exciting to listen to. And in the poster presentations, and I won't go through all these in detail, I just want to note that we do have poster presentations. I'll show these slides again once we get to that section. That starts at 3 this afternoon. But again, a wide range of topics for people that graduate students that are in the project and others that are not, that are just collaborators as they validate and use this software. And this gives us a better sense of what's going on out there, and hopefully gives an idea of what things we need to do and what improvements. So we're always open to your ideas of what things need to be improved as we go forward. Okay, so that's really all I have to say. I didn't want to take too much time, just want to give you a quick introduction.